1981 and I'm 18 years of age. Makes me 53 and I know I don't look it before any of you say that. And I'm walking down my street, Gresham Road, South London, on Oak Park. And I'm going down, it gets to number 89, which is where I live. And I've walked up the path and I've knocked on the door. And there's no one in. And I've knocked on the door again, still no one in. So I've taken the keys out and I put it in really quietly and gently. And I've looked over my shoulder both ways to see if anyone's looking. And I've opened the door. And you're probably thinking, why am I looking over my shoulder if I've got the keys to my house I'm going in? The problem is I no longer live there because my parents had moved a few weeks earlier. So, but the thing is I had to get into this house. So I'm looking around like this and I've crept in and I've opened the door and there's a pile of letters and there's a letter in there that I need to see today. So I've run in, looked up again, had a quick look, pulled it out, slammed the door and I've gone running all the way down the road. Finally stopped, hearts like this, partly knackered, but partly because of what I'm about to read. Because that day was the day millions of kids were getting their A-level results. And my 2 A-level results were in this letter. And I couldn't wait any longer, so I had to get it that day. And what was resting on this, for me, was the rest of my career, or so I thought so. So I've opened it up, and I'm looking down. Now, sport was my passion at the time, and art was not on my horizon. But sport was what I did. I represented the school at 4 or 5 different sports. Football was my main sport. I represented the county. I was captain of the county. I was captain of the school. So for me, it was sport, 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 sport. So being a PE teacher was what I wanted to do. So and I had a place at college, Crunel Sager up north. So everything was riding on this. And at 18, you do think your whole life is going to be around this one result. Anyway, I've opened the letter. And art A-level, C pass. Well, I've got that. Looks at the next one. Biology. Now remember, in them I had to do 2 A-levels. Now most nowadays, especially my daughter, 4 or 5 A-levels. So I didn't even have to get a lot of A-levels, 2. And I don't even think I had to get an A or a B, it was just a pass. So it wasn't exactly the hardest thing to do. So I've looked down, it says biology, failed. I looked again, failed. I looked again, failed. I thought the more I looked at it, it's going to change. Anyway, I suddenly realised in that moment it's not going to change. And then your voice starts going, oh no, what's going to happen? It's like the whole world crumbles around you. You know that feeling? And then your mind starts going, oh, you fail, you're a failure, what's people going to think? You know, you can't be a PE teacher, what's your mum and dad going to think? What's your mates going to think? And all those were going on. And I was like, what do I do? Now the problem, I was thinking, I'm sure I passed. The arrogance says, I'm going to get a recount, right? And I think I actually got a recount, and again it come through fail. So I decided I still want to be a PE teacher, so I want to redo it. Now this is the problem I had. As I just said, my parents had moved house, and they'd moved out a little bit further. So to go back to the school, to retake it, I had to live sort of locally. This is where my nan and granddad come in. So my nan loved her to bits. She said, boy, she said, why don't you move in for a little while? Why you retake your A-level? I said, fine. Now my nan had this beautiful story that she would tell anyone. She'd say, he moved in for 3 weeks and he stayed for 3 years. And seriously, 3 years is what I stayed, right? It was the most wonderful time. Anyway, went back, failed. So I was like, oh God, what am I going to do? And so I decided to doss about basically for 2 years, right? And I just got a job driving a van around the West End. I did apply for a couple of jobs. In fact, I applied for the police force and I did get in. But then I got a letter saying, literally saying, Mr. Snow decided we're not going to have you. And I think the reason was one of my family was being looked after by Her Majesty in one of those little rooms with the bars at the end of it. Seriously, which is why, it's probably a good thing by now. Anyway, so I've just driven a van for a couple of years, right? Didn't know what I was going to do. And then you get that phone call from your dad. Son, 20 years of age, you should sort out your career. And I'm like, yeah, I think you're right, Dad. And I'm like, what can I do? I got art A-level. Let's do that. Now I remember I had no passion. I had no favourite artist, never went to any galleries. Sport was my passion, art was just something I could do because I could draw. So I applied for college to do a foundation course and they got back to me, letter, because no email was that long ago. And they basically said, look, we're full up, but why don't you come along for a chat and we'll have a little chat with you and see how you are. So I thought, I'll just go along. So I've dusted off my A-level work, which is about 3 years I hadn't touched it, right? And I've turned up like this. And they said, would you want to come art college? And they're like, really? And they could tell I had no passion for art at that time. And they said, look, we're full up, but why don't you go away, see what you can do, and if you do want to come back next year. And I thought, great. So I went away and I thought, you know what, let's give this a go. Remember, still no passion for this, hadn't touched it for 3 years. And I decided to enrol on a Tuesday night at Sydenham Girls' School, South London, in the evening classes. And I would sit there with about 8-year-old women drawing flowers and God knows what, and I would just get on and do my own thing. But this is what happened. I started to really enjoy it. And within a year, I've reapplied and got on my foundation course. I had a fantastic year at Art College doing that. And what was interesting is passion for art that I didn't think I had started to come through. So I did my foundation course, and then I took a degree in design. And I got that, and then I entered in the world of advertising and marketing as an art director, which I still am to this day. You know, and as an art director, and as my bio said, I get paid to create, and I've written, you know, from TV to press to poster to direct social media, I've done it, and I've been fortunate enough to work at some of the best agencies in the world, Saatchi Saatchi London. I've worked on over 200 brands, some of the biggest in the world. You know, I've shot commercials in South Africa, press campaigns in America. So I've been blessed to do a job I love. And the reason I put it in my bio is because how many people actually can say they have a job that they love, that they have passion for. And it's always been one of those conversations I've had for years, and I used to say to people, I love Monday mornings, and they'd look at me like I'm mad, and I'd say, this is it, because most people look forward to Friday, they have one day, they dread Sunday because Sunday's before Monday, and then they're back in work on the Monday. And I used to say, you're mad. I had a best mate who's moaned, and he still moans 35 years later about the same job. And I've stopped saying anything anymore. Now, it's come up a lot recently because my kids are now going through the stage of choosing their O-levels and A-levels. My daughter's now doing 4 A-levels, my twins are doing GCSEs. But I made a point when they were choosing those subjects, I said, pick subjects you love now. Don't worry about what your teacher's going to tell you. Academically might be better for university because you may not go to university. And your mind might change. And so I've been at pains to say, do something you love. Right, so my twins already, you know, they're finding out there's some subjects they like, you don't like. You're going to get that. My daughter's doing her bit. And when I hear people talk about something they're doing that they don't enjoy, I don't understand it. So what I would say, how long have I got show, by the way? Because I'm 1 minute.
Minutes.
1 minute. Three. Oh, fantastic! I can carry on talking now. I thought I'm talking quick. It's not my South London accent. I'm trying to get, because I've got 10 minutes, obviously, with Shay. So I've been at pains, and I've had these conversations. Now, think about this. I mean, I travel into town every day. I have done for 25 years, 2.5 hours of travelling. Does anyone get the train or the tube here? Right? Okay. So, you know what tubes are like, right? You're like this. Now imagine, you're like this and people get on. Can you move up? No, there's no room, I don't want to get on. And you get all these arguing. Now, can you imagine, right, a life where people love their job and you're getting on the tube, right? You're like that. Excuse me, can I get on? Of course you can. Come over here. Look, there's another guy that loves his job. He wants to get on the tube. Imagine the energy that we have, right? Now, all that, you imagine going on a train and we're all, you know, how you doing? Because most of us are like, it's like really booked and there's nothing, there's like negative energy on a train. Now imagine this. Probably 90% of those people are not only doing a job they hate, they're travelling to go and do that. Right? That doesn't make sense, does it? So, I've always, and my kids have been telling them all the time, is to do a job you love. And I've been blessed, and I've also been blessed now because coaching came into my life a couple of years ago, NLP. I spend a lot of time now with a lot of you guys here from the Yes Group and everything. And it's another passion that I found, and I use that word a lot, passion. Okay, now I would love passion on my headstone. The word passion has got to be there somewhere. And all I would say to you guys, that I'm sure, because I know a lot of you are coaches and I know a lot of you have made that decision to change your job or your career over the last few years. For those that haven't, I'm going to tell you now, you have to change it. Right? I mean, even if you don't do something you love, pick something you like. Because to do something that you don't like has got to be, to me, the worst feeling in the world. I get up every morning and I'm like, can't wait to do what I do. Okay? And Mondays for me, as I said on the bio, best day of the week. So is Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. But don't get me wrong, there's going to be days that I don't enjoy as much as the other days. But it's still not a pain, because stress, when you get stress, which we all do, if it's stress and it's something you enjoy, it's not stress, is it? You can handle that. But if it's stress and something you don't enjoy, that is the worst feeling in the world. The last thing I want to leave you with is this. At at the time when my world, I thought, was falling apart around me, and I thought, wow, this is it, what am I going to do? And I thought failure then was the worst thing to happen to me. But obviously it took me years to realise failure was the best thing to happen to me. Because if I hadn't failed, I would not have taken the route that I've taken. And I know a lot of you coaches out here, and we talk about there's no such thing as failure, only feedback, or maybe it's the university's way of saying, don't do it that way, do it that way. If it doesn't do it that way, do it that way. So the two things I want to leave you with, guys, is if you're not doing something you love, change it and do something you love, and embrace failure. Thank you.